Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are back after extended pause due to scheduling and all kinds of busyness. We wanted to at least get on for a little bit and touch base and let you guys know what's been going on inside the Macroverse. But with that being said, I'm going to keep it short. I want to bring in my good friend, Evan Matthews.
Yoink.
What's going on, my friend?
What's up, man? Yes, it has been a crazy month. As I am seeing myself here, I am in need of a haircut.
That seems to be the thing lately.
Spring break around here as well for the kids and all that good stuff. But yeah, man, it feels like, it's been a month, which is a long time when we've been mostly weekly streaming, but it also feels even longer since so much is going on. So much craziness.
Well,
good.
I think may not have been a terrible thing. It gave us time to kind of catch up and have something to talk about.
Build up some news.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, indeed. So yeah, I mean, this is going to be a broken record for anyone that's watched these streams in the past. There's some new stuff I can talk about. There's always a bunch of stuff in development I can't talk about just yet. But a lot of the things that we've been working on are either now crossed the finish line or getting close to the finish line. Continues to be a very exciting, 2025 and beyond. Of course, I'll start losing my voice as we jump on here. The days are exciting and long and a little crazy and juggling a ton of things all at once. And actually, I'll just back up for a second. We haven't been here for a minute. So in case you don't know what we're about, I am Evan Matthews, co-founder and CEO of Macroverse. This is
Tiny Universe. I would say, I think I describe myself as just like a collector and like the Macroverse super fan. But overall, I mean, collector, writer.
Always helping to spread the word. And man, and an OG, I would say definitely a Macroverse OG, which we have something about that coming up shortly too. But anyway, so, what is Macroverse? We've started as a comics platform, and we've evolved into a kind of what I now describe as sort of a platform and a company that just makes cool stuff at the intersection of comics and collectability. And so there's digital components to that. There's physical components to that. We're doing something very cool in the music industry that kind of ties in a relatively unique way. We'll talk about that in just a second, because one of those things comes to fruition tomorrow, which is quite exciting. And then we're partnered with a bunch of really interesting creators and 100 different indie comic creators that we've been working with. We've got some publishing, some traditional publishing coming out later this year, more music stuff coming later this year. We have a program called Authentic Editions, which is restoring classic golden age comics to their original splendor. So this is a hot off the presses final test print. We can talk about that a little bit, but we've meticulously kind of brought these things back literally from the grave to their original condition. They even smell like the original books. So we've done that with Pre-Code Horror. We're working with Archie. We've got several more batches of Authentic Editions coming throughout the rest of this year. We've got some plans for Comic-Con coming up in July. We're forging some partnerships, which I am looking forward to being able to announce over the next weeks, a month or so. So there's a lot going on across the different areas. But I think the two things that we really want to kind of talk about for a moment tonight is the release of Wu-Tang Clan album, the vinyl album that we produced as part of our Mixprint program or project. And then the alpha phase of the new Macroverse platform, which is just beginning to open to small groups of early adopters. So we'll talk about both of those things tonight. And then if you like any of the stuff that we are talking about, or kind of any of the direction that we're headed, then we would love to connect with you through here, through social, through Discord, through the Macroverse platform, even would be the best place, and across all these different channels. So I think what we're doing over the next year is building a huge foundational piece of what we ultimately see as sort of the central hub for comics and collectability, and then expanding from that into other areas of pop culture. It's been a very interesting year for comics as a whole, as there's massive disruption in distribution and where publishers are actually able to get material to stores. The additional rise of all kinds of projects in crowdfunding. Lots of challenges for indies, the uncertainty of tariffs and paper shortages, which we've been dealing with on our own, projects and trying to bring these things across the finish line and into people's hands. So there's been a whole roller coaster ride around that, which we're dealing with every single day. But at the end of the day, we do think there's this very unique moment in time here for the comics industry to right size a lot of the way that the whole ecosystem works. And so we've only grown more ambitious over the past year as we see more and more of the places that the existing industry is challenged, and where some fresh thinking and some new tools and some new technologies can step in to help fill the gaps and actually make things work better, not just for creators and publishers, but actually for retailers, for fans, for really the whole, all the different pieces of the ecosystem will find a home on the platform that we're building. And so it's a pretty exciting direction. And again, we're literally over the last 48 hours have invited the first batch of users. And if you stick around and watch the stream, you'll have a chance to be one of those early adopters, get your username, start to poke around as well. So we've got a special bonus reward and invitation for you as we get a little bit further into the stream. So that's my incentive for you to stick around and hear more about what we're up to. So very, very exciting times. I think, Tiny, unless there's anything else you want to talk about first, let's talk about Wu-Tang.
No, I think especially with that being the soonest thing happening. No, I'm excited, man. I've been really excited and really waiting for this. So I'd say let's dig into that.
I'm gonna minimize us for just a second here. If I can I minimize both of us?
I've actually seen some social media clips that have been released of some audio and stuff now.
There's definitely been some social media activity. So forgive my windowing here as I try to figure out how to show the background. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to take us off stage for just a moment so that you actually see the background of what's behind us, and then we'll come back on and explain it. So we'll be right back. Hang in there. Hang in. And we're back. So this is a really exciting project, and there's a bunch of things about it that are really excited. So first of all, what is it? This is a Record Store Day exclusive double vinyl album that is coming out literally tomorrow at a record store near you. So if you are a fan of vinyl records, this is audiophile grade, like just incredibly high-end production value for this record. It's new material from all the living members of the Wu-Tang Clan put together by Mathematics, who's been their longtime collaborator and producer. Mathematics actually created the Wu-Tang logo, which is one of the most iconic things in hip hop. And it's an incredible record. Like, this is the thing I'm actually so psyched about, is like, we're really proud of what we made. And I keep interrupting you, Tony. 1 second. I'm really proud of what we made. But the record itself, like the music itself, it really is fantastic. So I think people are going to be psyched about the whole thing. But go ahead.
No, I just was going to jump in and say not only like for Wu-Tang fans or vinyl fans, for people like myself that are big collectors.
Yeah.
Like, this is definitely something that will be a collector's item. I mean, if you happen to come across one and don't rip it open, who knows what might happen?
Well, here, I mean, this is the thing. Like, we actually already know that it's sold out. So, so there are 5,000 copies of this record in record stores tomorrow in the U.S. and there are 1,000 copies in the U.K. So if you're in the U.S. or the U.K., you can find a record store near you by going to recordstoreday.com. I'll be going out to one tomorrow because I want to see this out in the wild. But so 5,000 editions. I would definitely recommend getting there early if you want to get your hands on them, and especially if you want your pick. Because the very special thing about this is we have developed a whole product line and technology which we call Mixprint, which you can see the logo at the bottom here. So what Mixprint is it's a combination of very bespoke, handcrafted, meticulous artwork creation, in this case by one of my favorite artists, Stephen Perkins, who's also our head of production, has been with us for quite a while and here at Macroverse. But he's just insanely talented. Like I'm covering his artwork at the moment. I wish I could get myself out of the way so you could could look at it more closely. But do check, like, if you search this Black Samson, the Bastard Swordsman release, you're going to find some press around the record and see some of the cover art. But there's literally every single one of the covers is a unique variation. So if you walk into the record store tomorrow and they've got 5 copies or 10 copies, every single one is unique. And this is a first time ever in the record industry. It's only the only reason it's not a first time ever in the industry is because we did some comics with this technology prior to this release. But it's first time in the record industry. So every single album is a one of one in this collection. And so that means the artwork has variations across it, different color schemes, different visual elements. The dragon that you might have seen kind of featured in the front has, I think, 4 or 5 different versions. Black Samson is the main character. There's I was going to say, maybe there's not even a dragon. Exactly. So it's amazing. Like, Steven just knocked it out of the park. And then the combination of his artwork with the technology that we've created, which allows us to create these variations and remixes. And I will say, like, in this case, importantly, like, no AI is involved in this. This is a pure kind of creative art project combined with this very bespoke tech that we built to be able to create all these generations and remixes. And then we curate the collection. So for 6,000 unique covers, we probably created almost double that to then pick the 6,000 best ones to then print and send out. So it's this combination of art, technology, and printing. There's a whole printing process that we had to develop to be able to do this. And part of why you've never seen it before is it's actually, prior to this, it would have been insanely prohibitively expensive to print every jacket as a unique jacket. So we've had to put a lot of pieces together with this, like we somehow seem to always find ourselves having to do. But it's
and always succeeding.
And so far we tend to pull it off. So the record, the album, the vinyl album cover looks amazing. It's in this gorgeous package. The record is this, again, double vinyl, thick, audiophile grade pressing. And then the full package comes polybagged, and there's an Obi label, which is, a lot of people like to collect those as well. So it kind of goes through the features of the record and, becomes this kind of additional collectible piece. But if you go to the record store tomorrow, I honestly dare you to just buy one if they have more than one, because I don't know what I'm really torn. Like, I want to get there and just like buy them up for myself to have the experience, and I also want other people to have the experience. So.
I'm pretty sure that you did like some sneak peeks on a prior episode.
I did.
And I think there was a samurai version that.
It's not a samurai version, but they're different weapons, different poses.
Yeah.
The character has some powers. And then if we're not even showing you the back of the album, so this artwork is fully wraparound. And on the back, he's facing off against different foes. So there's some, mystical characters, there's ninjas, there's, it's kind of ghost tigers. And so, because so much of Wu-Tang is about Kung Fu, a lot of the, or the inspiration, kind of visually is around that. And so, we've got the tiger, tigers for tiger style. There's a mantis for mantis style. We've got this, Steven did this incredible eagle where like there's a regular eagle version and then like a ghost eagle version and like a fire eagle version. It just all looks so freaking cool. So I cannot wait for people to see this in the wild. And I do think like this is the first time, even though we did some comics, well, those have been out and been a very positive reaction to them, but this is the first one you're going to be able to walk into the store and actually see a selection of them all together. And I just think that experience is going to be really cool to suddenly realize like there are 5 of these things here. They're all different. Can I resist getting more than one? I don't know. If it were me, because I have that collector brain too, I would be hard pressed.
And I do want to say, like for me, as that collector and consumer, I think the first time walking into a physical store and seeing the heat seeker on the shelf, was like breathtaking for me. But like I said, those were polybagged and they're blind bagged. So I mean, like, even though they're on the shelf and I knew what it was, it looked phenomenal once I opened them. Got home. It wasn't on a shelf where you could just see it spread out, each one different. And I think that's what's going to be mind-blowing to people, especially that don't know about it, are going to be like, what is this,
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I'm really excited about this. I can't wait to go out tomorrow. I hope people do go and check it out. And I don't know what's going to happen. I am not, trying to prognosticate anything here, but I will be shocked if these are not on eBay tomorrow at, some exponential markup from what they go for in the store. So do with that information what you will. But it's really fantastic. And if you want a sneak preview, the first 2 tracks are out on streaming right now. So the one I would recommend listening to is called Mandingo, and it just rocks. Like I've been listening to it kind of on repeat for a little while. It's so freaking good. Like it is. If you like Wu-Tang Clan, this is classic Wu-Tang with a bunch of guest stars. It's off the charts. It's fantastic.
I think too, like I've seen like they have like 1 or 2 other like mixtapes or little record releases coming out. They're doing a ton of live shows. So
yeah, they're doing a big tour and we're going to be a part of that a little bit as well. So there's more Wu-Tang stuff to come as in the partnership that we've developed with them. But this one is really, really something special. So I do. Yeah, that's all I can say. It came out amazing. It exceeded my expectations and my hopes and dreams in every capacity. And I just think people are going to be really excited about it when they see what it is. Circling back on that. So, we did start with comics with our partners at Titan Comics. We've done the first 4 issues of a series called Heat Seeker. I'm getting confused because I'm about to say the other one, Heat Seeker Combustion. So 3 of the 4 issues are out in stores. The 4th one is, I think, scheduled to be out in the next week or 2. So there were some delays in all of the upheaval around Diamond. So they've found their resting spot with Lunar, which is another distributor. And so now everything's kind of getting back on the schedule. But the 4th issue will be out soon. And then I can now kind of officially announce that we've signed on to do the next Heat Seeker series as well. And same artist, more mixed print covers. Actually, issue 1, little spoiler alert, will have a safe for work version of it. So that will also be a polybagged, maybe less safe for work version of it. And then there will be a shelf version that you will be able to see all the variations.
Everybody's gonna want that polybag.
I mean, it's true, but I think you gotta see it. This is what I was talking to, our John at Titan, who we've become kind of strategizing around this stuff with. It's like, we're talking about this morning. It's like, once you understand what it is, then yes, you absolutely depending on where your interests lie, may want the polybag version, but you got to see it in the store, in the shelf, to really see
to pull the attention. No, I mean, it's literally just like a flat gray poly bag. I mean, like it's
exactly.
It's nothing to it, and then you open it up, just this like
boom,
boom. Art. Yeah, no, I mean, it's like the colors.
Shout out to Brow, who's the artist on these, and we're continuing to work with them on the next series. He's just getting better and better on every single one. So the first 4 are amazing. Like, he's turned in the first 2 for the next series, and we're working on the exports for the first issue right now. Issue 1 is incredible. Issue 2 is even better. His sketches for beyond that, like, it just keeps getting better. It just makes me happy.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, I think I've got, just in the first 2 or 3 issues, maybe like 12 copies or something crazy, because it's like it's so addicting to like tear them open and see what the next one looks like. It's like when you open, you're like, oh my god, that's amazing. What's in this one?
It's the combination of comics and trading cards in a way.
Oh man,
good. Yeah, so very excited about that. But Wu-Tang tomorrow, more Heatseeker coming. We've got some other stuff with Titan that we'll be able to announce soon. We're doing. We will be able to talk about some new stuff with Jason Brubaker, which is coming up as well, which is very exciting to me because I'm just a massive fan of his as a creator. And then the other big news is, on the authentic edition side, like I said, we've had a bunch of unexpected challenges getting these actually to the press. And so, if you're a backer of the campaign, we've been putting out a bunch of updates around the progress there. But this is a pretty significant milestone, in that this is now is it the final? There's probably one more piece that we need from the printer to then be able to finalize the order with them, have all the paper in place, get on press, and then finally get these shipped out. So, if you are a backer of the campaign, or even if you're not, we really just so appreciate the patience. The vast majority of people have been incredibly positive and willing to kind of wait for us to be able to do this and do it right. We actually did have an opportunity to, pivot and print them in a different way on a slightly different paper. And we just, talked about it to like, is it worth trying to get these out earlier? And we ultimately decided like the whole point of this is to bring it back in the form and function that it was in, 50 plus years ago. And to betray that is kind of a betrayal of the entire project.
Yeah.
And so
I agree 100%.
Yeah. So we apologize for the wait, but I think it's so important that it be the thing that,
I feel like to do something like that is almost like a bait and switch to the supporters. Like they're expecting one thing, and I mean, even though there's a timeline, I think most people, especially within the Macroverse community, people that have been around, have always been so understanding of timelines being flexible and having something better quality than faster.
Yeah, and in this case, I mean, there have been a few parts of this where literally it's like, we're ordering a ton of paper and there's none to be had, and so they're like sourcing it. Like we had it sourced, and then they had to resource it, and then there's a piece of this which I really shouldn't talk about, but there's another complication where we just had to pivot from one thing to another, but we found exactly the right thing in the right place to be able to do it. And for a few, I don't know, days to weeks there was questions around all the tariff stuff of like, does this increase the cost of the print run by 20-30%, which is a whole different challenge, and then how do we deal with that? So just been a lot of kind of pieces of this. I think the good news of it is, going from Pre-Code Horror into Archie, we now do have pretty much all of the pieces in place. So even though there's just one last thing that I'm waiting to see from the printer before we schedule press time, now we know, like, once this works, everything is there for Archie, everything is there for the next one. It's like the system is kind of all dialed in. And then what we did do, which, again, if you're a backer, you'll know this, but if you're not, I think this is pretty cool. So Chamber of Chills, this particular book, this particular cover, one of the most iconic covers of the golden age, especially in Pre-Code Horror, But Chamber of Chills, had a 24 issue run in the 1950s. And in that era, they would occasionally do annuals, which were essentially anthologies pulled from the stories that were published throughout the year. And so we thought, what a cool thing to be able to make the first Chamber of Chills annual in that style. And so 74 years in the making, we did put together a Chamber of Chills Annual 1 as a backer exclusive, kind of thank you for your patience. Thank you for hanging in there with us. So it's going out free to all of the backers. That will actually be the first thing that you get. And then the rest of the collection coming behind it. So, I'm pretty pleased that we were able to do that. And that one we is actually printing next week. So it goes, from the printer to the shipping facility and fulfillment, and then people should start to have it in their hands. My guess is around the end of the month, depending on how quickly it goes through that process. So the first piece of Pre-Code Horror will be in people's hands, and then we think the rest of it is looking like it's going to ship at some point in May. So that's where we are with that. Archie coming right behind it. More announcements after that. And then the other thing I'm excited to talk about is the platform. And so if you've been watching, this is the moment where I bring in the thing that I was teasing earlier. So we believe that as the comics and collectibles industry continues to evolve, that, one of the things that we've built is this really interesting, we think cool connection between physical things and digital things. And so you'll see more of this continue to roll out throughout the year. But one of the things that we built into the platform is this badge reward system. And so for different types of activity, different things that you participate in, like watching this stream, we want to give you something exclusive and something special on the platform to help customize your profile, to help customize your collection, just to say, I was there when this thing happened. And so if you're here while this thing happened, scan this QR code that is now on screen. It'll actually, what's that?
It's behind the live symbol.
Oh, it's behind the live symbol? Let's see. Can I move it? Oh, that's not a good thing. Let's see if I can move it. If not, oh, wait a minute. Maybe align. Yeah. How's that? Is that clear now?
There you go.
All right, there you go. So yes, scan this QR code. And you'll not only be able to get this exclusive badge, this first of its kind Tiny's Universe badge, but also it will get you into the early alpha access for the platform. And so we're only inviting small groups of people on right now. There's still a lot of bug testing going on. We're still squashing some bugs and fixing some things. So I will give the giant caveat that this is in the alpha stage for the platform. There's a lot of stuff we're still working on that we haven't rolled out on the live site yet. There's nothing, at the moment you can't read anything on the platform. That will come relatively soon. But this idea of being able to claim your username, set up a profile, be kind of prepared to start redeeming things that we put out. So Wu-Tang, for example, each of those records also does have a QR code on it, and it will give you a collectible on the platform when you scan that QR code. So each of the things we release is going to have some sort of a connection back into the platform, into your collection, ways that we can give you bonus rewards and things like that. And then this is the kind of thing that we're designing to stack. So there's a game element to all of this, which will become more apparent over time as well. So the things that you collect along the way will have greater and greater impact as the platform continues to mature and develop. So I think this is a fun way to invite people in, give you something immediately. We also have an XP reward system. So every 6 hours, you can claim some more XP on the platform. And then that XP will have some utility a little bit further down the road as well. So definitely recommend. We've dialed up the amount of XP that you're getting compared to some people that'll come on the platform later. So now's a good time to accumulate some. but this is your way in if you're an early adopter, if you want to kick the tires, if you don't mind some bugs and the occasional thing that we come across every once in a while, which is like, oh, we didn't know that could happen, and then we fix it. So it's incredibly helpful for us to have real users where we can sort of see what's happening with, now there's about 200 people on there right now. And we'll continue to kind of invite smaller batches in as we continue to build.
Now, for those of us that are in it or will be in it, is there somewhere that they can go and report the bugs?
So actually, as of tomorrow, you will see a button at the top of the menu which says feedback. So to start with, that's just going to send us an email. So it'll just launch an email to feedback@macroverse.com. If you are, if you find something and you're willing to report it, then, we would very much appreciate that. Screenshots and videos are also incredibly helpful, especially if it's something that should be working and it's not working, because a lot of times it's working for us, and then the fact that it's not working for you is something that we need to then go investigate. Like, why is this not working for you, even though it's working for us or for most people? There's one bug, for example, right now where one of the quests that you can complete, for a very small number of people won't let you complete it. So this is why we're in the alpha stage. So it's like we're figuring out why for these few people can they not do that. And so once that's fixed, it'll be updated. You can complete it, but that kind of reporting is incredibly helpful. And we actually have a special badge designed just for people that report bugs. So
there you go.
if you want the bug hunter badge, then send us a bug. So we're having a lot of fun with this, and this kind of flexible reward system is something that we're going to have a lot more fun with over the coming days. If you are, kind of an OG community member in the Discord, we've got some fun stuff planned for everyone there. So keep an eye on the Discord, which if you've been in there over the last just few days, we did a massive cleanup and streamlining of. So it's a very much, I would say it's perhaps an overly simplified but basically it's like this is now like the Discord, I think now is really designed to be like, if you want to just connect at a community level and kind of keep up to date on what we're doing, we'll continue to throw some fun stuff in there. But we're going to be moving more and more of the activity, the community, the engagement and conversation actually directly onto Macroverse. So that's going to be fun when you can actually talk about the things you're collecting and the things that you're, enjoying, and, have those conversations in the same spot that you can actually collect them and enjoy them.
Well, I think that's something we kind of touched on in like a previous episode, that we were going to kind of phase the Discord out a little bit. It's almost phasing itself out a little bit. Just with the overall like community, I don't know, writing and just everything like that. I think a lot of people have taken a break for a few minutes, and so I think it's like really cool that we were kind of like tossing some ideas about where a good place would be for everybody to kind of meet, and I think that is the coolest option, is to just be the Macroverse home.
It is definitely the coolest option. It'll take us a little while to kind of get where we want to go with that. So I think we are also tossing around the idea. I think we'll probably, we'll certainly keep the Discord open. Certainly continues to be a good place for especially the initial core community. I think we probably will open up a Facebook group as well as sort of an additional place to, we know a lot of the people that are, currently collecting are on Facebook. So, be a good place to have as a secondary spot as we're getting to the point where we can move more and more of it directly onto Macroverse. So keep an eye out for that as well, because I do think we're going to do that. And then in the meantime, we're just heads down on everything. Like every week we're making progress, but these things take always a little longer than I want them to. And yet and then we get to these moments where it's like, oh, we got the record that we've been working on since January, coming out tomorrow. And that's always really fun.
It's exciting, and I mean, again, we've said it a million times, but I just always say, like, you can't rush perfection. And I mean, I would much rather take a little bit longer and have the extra quality than rush it and risk having something that you're not happy with.
Yeah.
Because overall, and two, I think like that's really important is for you guys to be happy with what you're putting out, not just, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean we are definitely drinking our own Kool-Aid all the time, but I do feel like, you know, for me especially, it's like I have to feel like I'm proud of the things that we make, or you know, it's not worth making them. And to me, a big part of the fun of all of this is trying to push some boundaries and do some things that people haven't done before. And you know, this whole I see Ricky in the chat. So hi Ricky, thank you for joining us. And he's asking about the paper. And so, you know, this is just one of those things where you know, I'll say this very much on the record. Like, we went into the pre-code horror Kickstarter with everything lined up to print it and fulfill it. Like, we actually spent months before launching the Kickstarter figuring out, you know, what the process was to recreate these books. We not recreate, but restore these books. Like, we literally spent almost 2 years figuring out how to do this. Like, it's one of those things where it's like, we think we can do this, and then we spend a lot of time figuring out how to do them, how to scan them, how to restore them, how to bring them back to a place where they even could be printed at the quality level necessary to not just have it feel like a bad photocopy of an old book. And so once we finally got there, you know, my head of publishing has been, you know, in the comics industry for 25 years working. You know, he's employee number 2 at Boom. Like, this is not a world that we don't understand as far as, you know, printing and publishing and distribution. Like, those pieces were all there. And then what we found was kind of 2 things. One is, you know, we ended up producing a bunch of the books to the point where we had perfected this process. And then we realized that we had a different way of approaching it that made it literally probably 50 to 100% better. So this is another one of those moments where, like, we could just finish this and most people would never really notice. It would be the first thing that we put out. It, you know, it's going to look good, but it's, you know, we all of a sudden realized, like, these look good, but now we have a slightly different way of doing it where they're perfect. Like, it is literally what we wanted it to be, which is, you know, you pull this off the spinner rack or the newsstand, you know, 70 years ago, and this is the book. And we just, you know, we couldn't resist getting it right. Because for us, this is also the beginning of a 10-year publishing plan. Like, this is, if we don't deliver,
you don't want to go halfway on the first thing.
If we don't deliver the level of quality that we're committed to on this first project, it tanks, in my mind, it tanks everything else that we're trying to do. Like, this one has to knock people's socks off, and then we should still be getting better from there on every project. But, you know, we need you to get these books, and I mean, I so am there with everyone in wishing that you already had them. Partly, we're not launching other projects because we need you to have them in. We need you to have them in your hands before we feel confident saying, like, here's the next project. Because if I were in the other shoes, if I was the collector, not the creator of this, I'd be going, well, why would I back another project when I haven't gotten the first, you know, 2? And that's totally understandable. So we're sitting over here going, like, we want to announce this next thing desperately, but we need this in your hands before we do. So, you know, there's a part of it, which is, you know, we did redo a big batch of the collection, and that did take a little bit of extra time. But along the way, we also, you know, then ran into these unexpected complications with the printer and the sourcing of the amount of paper that we actually needed to source, some misunderstanding and miscommunication between us and them around what was available when. And then all the tariff stuff and everything else just kind of threw a bunch of salt in those wounds. And so there's part of this which I'm not going to talk about, which is only because there's a little secret sauce in the middle of all of this that we intend to keep secret. But we did have to pivot a little bit as far as how we're actually producing them at the end of the day because of some of those challenges. And so now we have done that, and we now have the right solution to get them done and out the door. But it just, very frustratingly for us, even more frustratingly for people going like, is this even a scam or is this real? Or like, are you guys ever going to ship these books? and we absolutely are. And so, today I saw mock-ups of the boxes, which look good. We got all the rest of the bonus material, like the posters and the trading cards and all that is just, sitting at the printer waiting for the trigger to get pulled on the rest of the book. So everything is organized. Our fulfillment partners are, waiting to receive everything from the printer. And as soon as they do, they have a little time that it takes for them to ingest everything. Everything gets a SKU code so that they know what it is. The other part I've never really talked about is like the complexity of actually putting these packages together was another thing that took us literally months to find the right partners to do. And so think about, like, we've got 70 books that are all in different collectible configurations. Each one of them has a different box that they go into, a different set that they go into. So the fulfillment isn't just, here's a bunch of boxes, marry them with people's addresses and ship them out. It's actually, here's 70 different books, different cover variations, different, quantities. Here are the different boxes that they go in. They're all getting bagged and boarded as well. And there's something special about the boards, which will be revealed when you get the product. And so the people at the fulfillment center really have to be like, taking these 15 and putting them in the Frightening 15 box, and then these fluorescent ones and putting them in there. And then, the different combinations of box sets that then get put into the protective box that's going to keep them from getting ruined when they get shipped. And then those get double boxed. And then, there's a
you guys need to do like, I've been back on Pokemon cards lately.
Yeah.
And you guys need to do like the Pokemon, like a God pack.
Oh yeah, no, and also the thing the thing I am desperate for, like half of what's driving me to get these out the door, is I want to see people's unboxing videos. Like, I think it's so cool. If you got the everything set, the full issues and all the boxes, this thing is like, it's wider than you can see my hands on screen. Like, when you put all those together, it's like gonna take up your whole bookshelf. So, like, I can't wait to see that. Like, I want to see people's reactions. And so it's actually, as we're building this digital reward system on the platform, like, we're gonna do things like, share your unboxing video and get a special, badge or a XP bonus that you can then use for other things. And so there's a lot of fun that we can have with this. And so, Ricky, I'm talking to you just because I see you in the chat. So number one, thank you for backing the campaign and for the incredible amount of patience that you and everyone else have had around this. It really is the beginning of something. This is not us, taking your money and running by any means. And we literally are desperate to get these into your hands. It actually is, the whole roadmap that we built around this is dependent on getting these. So we're all anxious for it, and we will do everything we can to make it as fun and enjoyable, and add as much value to this and everything else that comes after it as we possibly can. That is my promise. Absolutely. So here we are.
I can't wait.
And we said this was going to be a quick 15-minute stream. I should have known better, but I feel energized by this conversation. It's been too long since we've
I should have known better that between the two of us.
Well, I can never shut up about this once you get me started anyway. So appreciate the opportunity. I think,
sorry, I want to encourage. We talk about unboxing videos, but like with these Wu-Tang records and stuff, I would encourage people to hit social medias and blast these things. And if you do get your hands on them, send out pictures and tell us what you think.
And actually, same thing there. If you @tag us, so our social media handles, so @Macroverse on Twitter /X and @Macroverse HQ, just about everywhere else. So if you @tag us and show us, what you got from Wu-Tang, we'll also give you a special exclusive badge on the platform. Like we want to have some fun with this. This is a two-way kind of experience. So show some love and support, and we'll give you something back. And then what may not be obvious is that as you collect things like these badges, we will then be able to see which people did these particular activities. So if we'll know that you got Wu-Tang because you redeemed the Wu-Tang, collectible. If you share an unboxing video, we'll give you the unboxing badge. And then over time, we're going to start having a lot of fun with the creators and publishers and other projects and be able to go like, oh, these are the people that did this, this, and this. Let's give them something cool exclusively for those people. Like, we really believe in rewarding the people that support us. We want to reward and give back to, as we continue to grow all these different things. So we really are going to have a lot of fun with this. And it's all with the spirit of, creating a hub for fandom that we don't think exists right now, and that should. So here we are to build it. There you go.
Can't wait.
Yeah, man. It's happening. It's happening. We've been talking about it for a very long time, been working on it for a very long time. This version of the platform is by far the best thing that we've built. It feels so good. Like there's not a ton that's out in the wild yet as far as features. Like, we're really focused on the profile and the collection that you're building in your profile as we continue to build out more of the pieces of this. But it's very responsive. It's very snappy. It just feels really, really good and fluid. And like, I think it's tell me if you think I'm wrong, please. There's that feedback button on the top. But I'm really proud of how smooth it is. Like, our developers just did a killer job on making it just feel buttery smooth as you navigate around the platform. And then the other thing, which is coming very soon, is creating more ability to connect with each other. So right now you can follow other people on there, and we'll start to create more ways to find who else is on the platform. But these early days, good time to, again, kind of grab your preferred username, start to get some badges as they're available. And there'll be a lot more over even the next few weeks that you'll be able to do on there.
Very cool.
Very cool.
I can't wait to be on their chat and just
for sure.
Meeting people from even that's how Discord was, just meeting like-minded people from all over. I mean, let's just get into it.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, the interactions that we've had through Kickstarter have just been so delightful. Like, it just, I think this is the thing about comics fans. Like, you remember the days, I remember the days very warmly of like why I was a comics fan before I ever made it to a comic store. But once I had like my comic store and like started to get to know people that, would go there, the every Wednesday, the Wednesday Warriors and the shop owner, and I would spend hours talking to the shop owner about like all kinds of stuff, like movies and comics and stuff, but all kinds of stuff. And he was my favorite shop owner was this guy that was when I was 13, he must have been in his 50s already, but it was just like this very eccentric his guy that knew all kinds of things about all kinds of things. And I can't even think of an example, but it's like it would just be literally hours of time, like Wednesday afternoons, like going through my pull list and then talking about whatever. And then customers would come in and out, and it was just it's such a there's a vibe to that kind of community around fandom, and you get it at Comic Cons and things like that too. But it that when you only have traditional social media to try to break through the noise to have those sorts of connections, I think it's why Facebook groups are kind of the closest substitute for that, possibly. But I think what we're trying to do is take it even more to that kind of real connection around fandom in a place that's dedicated to that type of experience, that type of fandom. And so if we can kind of start to get that vibe, I think it's going to be very special. I don't know. I'm on my soapbox again. Thank you for that.
It's gonna. I mean, I feel like that's how when we all started getting together originally in the beginning, the vibe was just so family like, and people, like it's just always been so close and positive.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm always excited to see it grow.
Yeah, totally. Me too. Well, I guess that's a good place to wrap it up. So the TLDR recap is, if you like vinyl records, if you like Wu-Tang Clan, if you like first of its kind collectibles that are vinyl records and Wu-Tang Clan,
Literally, yeah.
then find yourself a local record store. Do double check that not every record store is participating in Record Store Day. So if you go to recordstoreday.com, there's a shop locator. So I would check that. The one that I'm going to tomorrow, I was surprised to find doesn't open until noon. So that saved me
it's crazy. A lot of them are like 10 and 11 a.m.
Yeah, exactly. So do double check if you're going to go out hunting for these records. But that is tomorrow. I do not think there will be any left by the end of tomorrow. So if it's something you want, definitely go get it. In other news, as far as Authentic Editions, we'll keep updating everybody through Kickstarter as we have more information. We literally talk to the printer every single day at this point, like literally every single day, to make sure that everything is on track to get out the door. So we'll keep everybody updated there. Do get your Tiny Universe April rewards badge. This particular badge will be good for the month of April. So we'll have a new one that rolls over in May. So if you want to kind of start your Tiny Universe collection, this is your chance. Tiny's Universe badge number 1. Scan the QR code. So if you are watching this now, you can do it. If you come to it later, as long as it's in April, this one will still be available. Doesn't cost anything, but it does get you early access to the platform once again. And then there's just a lot more coming. So, we just, again, could not be more thankful for everyone that's been supporting the stuff that we're working on, for the feedback that we're getting, for the encouragement, even for the people that have had some negative stuff. Like it's actually just really beneficial for us to have feedback in general. No feedback is the worst feedback. Good feedback is great. Bad feedback is great. No feedback, not so great. I mean, other than we hope you're happy, but
I feel like the bad feedback, it sucks and it kind of hurts sometimes, but that's sometimes the best to have. I mean, that's what gives you the changes and the drive to make it better. You know what I mean?
100%. And I mean, over the course of my career, and I know this is true for, everyone that's making stuff, is like, it's the stuff that you didn't think about that someone else points out, which, sometimes is like, oh, dang it. Like, that sucks, or I didn't want that to be the way that it is, or any of those things. But especially as we're going from one thing to the next thing to the next thing, it are some of those moments like really do have the biggest impact, where you go, oh, I really need to rethink this for the next time, or this didn't work, so how do I make sure that we do a better job when we do the next thing, or it informs the next project, or the way that you work with someone, or any of those kinds of things. We'll wrap it up with this. When I was I would say probably 6 years old, I remember going to the dentist, and I was like one of those kids that was like very self-expressed, like, almost obnoxiously, not almost, definitely obnoxiously, kind of like no concern for who was around, what was going on. My parents were hippies. They were very, open to me just doing whatever I want to do a lot of the time, in a good way, I think, generally, but still. And so I went to the dentist, and I remember after the dentist visit, so at least I had clean teeth, but we, sat down, and the dentist talked to my parents, and he asked them, he's like, nothing personal, but like, he's not going to be able to come back. And I was like shocked by that. And then they were, trying to explain it to me. And basically the feedback was like, I was so unaware of the people and the things going on around me, because I was just like, you know, all over the place as this exuberant kid. And it made it, you know, not only challenging for them to do their job, but also kind of wasn't something they were prepared for or willing to deal with. And so I so clearly remember that moment, because on the one hand, it made me feel kind of hurt and, you know, like it was kind of self-conscious in a way that I don't think I'd ever really experienced before that. But on the other hand, it really, I think, had an incredibly positive impact on my ability to then start to pay attention to what am I doing and how is that impacting, you know, other people and the things that and the world around me. And so it's those kinds of moments which are sometimes a double-edged sword that, you know, can have a big impact. And in that case, I think ultimately a positive one. So there you go. Pay attention to your feedback. All right, my friend, a pleasure.
Hey, always.
Where do people find you if they want to connect with you outside of the stream?
Always Discord. You know, I always get the dings and stuff there, but Facebook is probably my home now. And there I would be Scott Pierpont.
Scott Pierpont on Facebook.
I might be correlated to Tiny Universe somehow, but I think it's a real name there.
Tiny Universe on Facebook. Scott Pierpont.
Pierpoint's common. That's very common.
Okay, yes. On Facebook. And also, I believe Tiny Universe on Macroverse. So
yeah,
you can get some early followers and follows if you find his profile on Macroverse. And then I am at Ebonverse on all the socials, including Macroverse. You can also find me in the Discord if you @tag me. But generally, I am insanely heads down busy building all of this at the moment. So I've been a little less visible than I have been previously, but not for lack of desire, just for not enough hours in the day. So
I told that to someone earlier. I just need either another day or longer ones.
Yeah. My wife and I are constantly like, can we just get the 8-day week, you know? But then I think the problem there is if everybody gets it. So I think the real request is like, it's just for us. Everyone else still has the 7-day week, but we somehow get that extra day. Because if everyone gets it, we're kind of in the same boat. So, yeah. But on that note, scan your badge, go to Record Store Day, come on the platform, connect with us on socials, look out for the next projects, and thank you again for tuning in for this episode of Tiny's Universe, talking about what's going on in the Macroverse. We will be back again possibly next week, certainly the next couple of weeks, and we'll have more updates to talk about then. So everybody have a wonderful weekend, and we will